The $888 million fix General Motors just rolled out across millions of vehicles didn't actually fix anything. Shocking, right? Right now, while you're listening to this, there are 600,000 more GM vehicles under federal investigation for the exact same catastrophic engine failures that were supposedly already solved. And if you're driving a Tahoe, a Silverado, a Suburban, or a Yukon with one of their Vortec engines, you might be sitting on a ticking time bomb that could leave you stranded on the highway with a $15,000 repair bill. This isn't about a minor defect. This is about engines that can seize without warning while you're driving 70 miles per hour with your family in the back seat. Here's what makes this terrifying. You probably thought the recall was over. Maybe you even took your truck in, got the fix, drove away, feeling like everything was handled. That's what they wanted you to think. But right now, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration is looking at over 600,000 additional GM vehicles because drivers are still reporting the exact same nightmare. Engines that consume excessive oil, lifters that collapse without warning, and complete engine failure that can happen while you're merging onto a highway. Let me paint you a picture of what this actually looks like in real life. You're driving to work, normal Tuesday morning. Your Suburban is running fine. Maybe you notice the engine sounds a little different. A slight tick, nothing alarming. You tell yourself you'll mention it at your next oil change. 3 days later, you're on the interstate, and suddenly your engine seizes. No warning light, no gradual decline, just catastrophic failure. You're coasting to the shoulder, praying you don't get rear-ended. And when the tow truck finally gets you to a dealer, they tell you it's going to be $12,000 to $15,000 for a new engine. And here's the kicker. Your warranty expired 6 months ago. That scenario isn't hypothetical. It's happening right now to GM owners across the country. And it's happening to vehicles that were supposedly already fixed under the previous massive recall campaign. So let's talk about what actually went wrong the first time. Between 2019 and 2023, GM issued multiple recalls affecting millions of vehicles equipped with their 5.3-litre and 6.2-litre V8 engines. The problem was something called Active Fuel Management, or AFM. It's a system designed to improve fuel economy by deactivating half the engine's cylinders when you don't need full power. Sounds smart, right? The problem is, when those cylinders deactivate and reactivate over and over, the valve lifters, these small components that control the valves, they start to fail. When a lifter fails, it can collapse. When it collapses, metal fragments get into your oil. And when metal fragments circulate through your engine, you're looking at complete engine destruction. GM's solution back then was to replace the lifters and reprogram the engine control module. $888 million spent on repairs. Case closed. Except it wasn't. Because here's what they didn't tell you. The fundamental design flaw, the reason those lifters fail in the first place, that wasn't actually fixed. Had they just replaced the broken parts with the same parts that were going to break again? It's like putting a band-aid on a bullet wound and calling it surgery. And now, all those vehicles that got the fix, they're failing again. Same symptoms, same catastrophic results, same expensive nightmare for owners who thought they were in the clear. The NHTSA opened this new investigation in late 2024 after receiving hundreds of complaints from owners of 2021 to 2023 model year vehicles. These are newer trucks and SUVs, Tahoes, Suburbans, Silverados, Yukons, high country trims that cost $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 brand new. People who bought these vehicles thought they were getting GM's most advanced, most reliable engines. Instead, they got engines that might not make it to 100,000 miles before needing complete replacement. And here's where it gets really disturbing. Some of these complaints are coming from people who already had their engines replaced once. Think about that for a second. You paid for a new engine, or GM paid for a new engine under warranty, and that replacement engine is now failing the same way, because they're installing the same flawed design over and over again. Now, you might be wondering why GM would do this. Why wouldn't they just fix the actual problem? And the answer comes down to money and admission of guilt. If GM admits that the AFM system itself is fundamentally flawed, they're not just looking at another recall, they're looking at a complete redesign of engines in millions of vehicles. They're looking at potential lawsuits from owners whose engines failed after the warranty period. They're looking at a PR disaster that makes their current situation look like a minor inconvenience. So instead, they keep playing this game of whack-a-mole. Replace the parts, hope they last just long enough to get past the warranty period. Kick the can down the road and let the next owner deal with it. But here's what makes this even more insidious. The oil consumption problem. See, before these engines catastrophically fail, they start burning oil, a lot of oil. Owners are reporting that they're adding a quart of oil every 1,000 miles. Some are adding oil every 500 miles. And when they take their vehicles to the dealer, they're being told that this level of oil consumption is within normal operating parameters. Normal. Imagine being told that dumping a quart of oil into your engine every 3 tanks of gas is normal. That's not normal. That's a symptom of a dying engine. But by classifying it as normal, GM avoids having to fix it under warranty. And while you're busy adding oil every week, those metal fragments are still circulating. That damage is still accumulating. And one day, probably right after your powertrain warranty expires, your engine is going to grenade itself, and GM will tell you that's your problem, not theirs. The NHTSA investigation is looking at approximately 600,000 vehicles, specifically from the 2021 to 2023 model years. But here's what should terrify you. This same engine design, with the same AFM system, is still being produced and installed in new vehicles right now. Today, if you walk into a GM dealership and buy a brand new 2026 Silverado, there's a very real chance you're buying the same engine that's been failing for years. They've made some minor adjustments, they've updated some software, but the core design, the fundamental flaw that causes these failures, that's still there. So what does this mean for you if you own one of these vehicles? First, understand that you're in a waiting game. If your engine hasn't failed yet, there's no guarantee it will, but there's also no guarantee it won't. And the problem is, you won't know until it happens. There's no early warning system, no check engine light that says your lifters are about to collapse. You might hear some ticking, you might notice oil consumption, but by the time those symptoms are obvious, the damage is often already done. Second, document everything. Every time you add oil, keep a record. Take photos of your oil level, save your receipts. If you're consuming oil at an abnormal rate and your dealer tells you it's normal, get that in writing. Because if your engine fails and you end up in a dispute with GM over warranty coverage, that documentation is going to be your leverage. GM has a history of denying warranty claims by saying the failure was due to lack of maintenance or owner neglect. If you can prove you were monitoring your oil, adding oil, and reporting problems to the dealer, you've got a much stronger case. Third, consider your options now, before it's too late. If you're still under warranty and your engine is showing symptoms, consuming oil, making noise, make sure it's all documented with your dealer. Multiple visits create a paper trail, and if your engine does fail catastrophically, on that paper trail might be the difference between GM covering it and you being stuck with a $15,000 bill. But here's the really uncomfortable truth that nobody wants to talk about. This investigation, even if it leads to another recall, it's not going to fix the real problem. Because the real problem isn't just the lifters, it's not just the AFM system. The real problem is a corporate culture that prioritizes short-term profits over long-term reliability. That designs complicated systems to meet EPA fuel economy standards without adequately testing them for durability. That treats customers like statistics instead of people who trusted them with $60,000 and their family's safety. And this isn't unique to GM, but GM is the one getting caught right now, getting caught for the second time with the same problem. And the message that sends to every other automaker is simple. You can get away with it at least once before anyone really holds you accountable. So where does this leave you? If you own one of these vehicles, you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. You can't just stop driving it. You probably can't afford to replace it, especially if you're upside down on your loan, because these vehicles are depreciating faster than expected due to all the reliability concerns. You're trapped with an engine that might be fine or might fail catastrophically, and there's no real way to know which one you've got until it's too late. The best thing you can do is stay informed. Follow the NHTSA investigation. Join owner forums where people are sharing their experiences. When GM issues technical service bulletins, make sure your dealer is aware of them and applying any updates to your vehicle. Check your oil religiously. Every single time you get gas, pop the hood and check your oil level. Yes, it's annoying. Yes, it shouldn't be necessary, but it's the only early warning system you've got. And maybe, just maybe, start thinking about your next vehicle. Because if this investigation reveals what a lot of people suspect it's going to reveal, which is that these engines have a fundamental design flaw that can't be fixed with software updates and replacement parts, then the resale value of these vehicles is about to crater. And if you wait until that happens, you're going to be stuck with a vehicle nobody wants to buy and a loan that's worth more than the truck. This is your wake-up call. 600,000 more vehicles under investigation. The same problem. the same failures. The same company that already spent nearly $1 billion supposedly fixing it. And the uncomfortable question hanging over everything. If they couldn't fix it the first time, with $888 million, what makes anyone think they can fix it this time? Your Tahoe might be fine, your Silverado might run forever, but it also might not, and the worst part is, GM knows which one is more likely. They just aren't telling you. If this opened your eyes to what's really happening with these engines, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss updates on this investigation. Drop a comment below if you own one of these vehicles and let me know if you've experienced any of these issues. Share this with anyone you know driving a GM truck or SUV because they need to know what they're dealing with.